So you might be on summer holidays or you might still be in the office. And the question is, are we going to get a summer rally on equities? We will start with the hourly chart of the S&P 500 or the perspective over the next few weeks. We could see that we have a bit of exaggeration here on the overbought, oversold risk indicator, that our envelopes are close to touching each other, which may lead into a few days of consolidation. But in essence, we are still heading up over the next few weeks, possibly confirming it above 21.25 and making it perhaps up to the 21.70. The daily chart is now neutral. It's still slightly bearish, but prices have made new highs, and you can see that we have no targets here, which is a signal of this neutrality. We believe that you may see a continuation trade over the next few weeks here, as we've seen on the hourly, and then another period of retest to retest the breakout levels. When we look at the weekly, we are exiting a long period of consolidation since the second quarter last year. We do see a bit of exaggeration here on our envelopes, which means that we may indeed see a bit more work during the summer, but that in essence, over the second half of the year, we should see equity markets move higher. To summarize it, so possibly the end of a consolidation here on the weekly with a breakout. The daily is neutral but heading higher and breaking out. The hourly seems to be confirming that move and with the perspective of higher prices over the next 2 weeks. So potential resume uptrend in a consolidation period. So summer rally perhaps, we believe actually over the next few weeks and then a bit more consolidation. Now looking at the euro, it's been in a correction up since the first quarter last year, and we can see that the time which is allocated to this correction is pretty much over and that we're back in a period of risk. We believe that the euro could resume its downtrend over the next few quarters, so for the second half of the year, although we don't think the price potential is huge because we're already in oversold on our indicator. On the daily, we could see that prices have been correcting down since early May, that at the moment it's still a correction down and that they will find support around the 108 levels over the next few months. If we were to move below these support levels, possible targets are in the direction of 102, 103. The hourly confirms that we are still under pressure over the short term. The risk index is in the middle of the range, and we can see that the targets are leading us below 109 and possibly below 108 over the next few weeks. Now looking at the summary, so correction up, probably coming to an end, zone of risk again. Correction down on the daily, which could accelerate below 108. And at the moment, the hourly is leading us pretty much to that 108 level over the next few weeks. So a bear and two bulls, potential consolidation period in what is possibly the end of a corrective uptrend. Now looking at dollar yen, we can see that this is the hourly chart. Abenomics is probably going to be confirmed as Mr. Abe was re-elected over the weekend. And we can see that the impulsive down targets have been reached. We could also see here a sense of divergence with a higher low on the risk index and lower prices. So we're looking here at least at a correction up over the next few weeks, possibly up to the envelopes or 104, 105 levels. The daily is also quite oversold. On the risk index has reached its targets and is also seeing envelope stress, so would confirm that a turning point is perhaps in the making. The weekly still sees very lower targets for the second half of the year, but we want to put a caveat here. We just made it below the corrective targets, so we would have doubts about this impulsive potential. And we could also see that we're in a very strong zone here of support, of past support and resistance. So basically it's wait and see here, especially when we look at the perspective of the daily and the hourly, which are pretty much very low into positions of exaggeration. So what could initially be a bounce could turn into a stronger move up, a resume uptrend towards the second half of the year. But at the moment, the situation is still into prudence with 3 bears, potential continuous downtrend. Rapidly, we look at the cable. The cable still has the potential here on the weekly chart to make it, our targets were between pretty much 130 down to 125. So we still have some leeway and we were not yet oversold. Similarly, we're not yet oversold here on the daily, although the initial targets have been reached. And the hourly possibly still has also a bit more to go and is not oversold yet. So we're in potential continuous downtrend on this perspective, meaning over the next few weeks, next few months, next few quarters. That said, over the 60 minutes, we have seen pretty much a low here. The risk index is almost in the green and we're reacting up. We've reached our target, so we could see a few days of consolidation up here on cable. Finally, gold. Gold, as markets have corrected, or as risky access have corrected since the beginning of last year, we could see that it has initiated a very nice correction up. This correction up is slowly getting into targets, so we don't think there's that much more to go. Is that going to turn into a new bear market? That's not that's just a probability for now. So we believe we will at least see an end to this correction up and a period of consolidation. You could also see it here on the daily. We've pretty much had a very strong move and are getting into targets. There may be a few more weeks left, but you're already overbought on the oscillator. So at some point, you're going to see some sense of consolidation down. It might not be quite there yet, but possibly until the month of August, we should start seeing a top here on gold and some consolidation into the second half of the summer. On the hourly, as you can see, we've pretty much reached the targets. We're in a lateral consolidation. We might have a new move up, as previously said, into August, but at the moment, expect 1 or 2 weeks of consolidation. So still free bulls, but it's just a corrective bull and slowly getting into targets here. So it's getting quite expensive. Probably a profit taking over the next month or so. Thank you very much and have a good week.